Welcome to today's show on PW News. I'm Grant Sorrell.
I'm Hunter Simon.
And we have an interesting story to start you off.
Today we have Jared in Syria.
Yes, he's going to be talking about the recent pullout of Syria. To the clip.
Whether it be 18 years of conflict in Afghanistan, or troop deployments to Iraq in 2003, America has continually found herself at war in the Middle East. In recent times, this escalation of U.S. involvement has spilled into the borders of Syria. Looking to back Kurdish and rebel forces, seeking to push ISIS and other radical forces out, over 2,000 American troops are stationed within the country. Within the past couple months, President Trump has stirred controversy in both parties by promising to withdraw from the country.
We are pulling back in Syria. We're going to be removing our troops. I never said we're doing it that quickly, but we're decimating ISIS. Because of these gains, our service members in Syria can now return home to their families. Some will come here for a stay, but a lot of them are going to be going back home.
These strong words from the president have triggered positive and negative responses in both political parties. Lindsey Graham, a fellow member of the Republican Party, had this to say in response to President Trump.
I think the president's very committed to making sure that when we leave Syria, that ISIS is completely defeated and we're inside the 10-yard line. And the Iran-Kurd situation has to be dealt with. So I think we're in a pause situation where we're reevaluating what's the best way to achieve the president's objective.
Shortly after this bipartisan backlash, the Senate passed a resolution blocking troop withdrawals from Syria and Afghanistan. Now I got to sit down for a couple interviews to see the opinion of a few different PW students on this recent development of Donald Trump's pullout of Syria. Aiden Flynn, a senior, had this to say.
I think it's sort of a messy situation. I mean, I don't want American soldiers losing their lives, but also if we leave, there's going to be a power vacuum, and who knows what's going to fill that, maybe another terrorist group like ISIS. But also, I mean, the U.S. is part of the reason that the Middle East is in turmoil in the first place. So if we're not very good at managing that situation, I mean, it's stayed pretty much the same for the last 20, 30 years, then maybe we should pull out anyway because we're not really helping the problem.
President Trump was fulfilling yet another campaign promise by seeking to defeat ISIS and withdraw from the country. Although the terror group has been reduced to just a few square miles in the country, the president's national security advisor still suggests that it is a viable threat. With no end in sight to American involvement, one thing is light at the end of the tunnel to defeating ISIS. Back to you, Grant.
That was a really good story, Jared. Now, to the next segment. Now, to introduce the next segment of PW News. This segment is about sports live streaming here at PW. It's a new thing this year. They just started it, and I got to sit down with some of the starters of this. Take it away to the video. Welcome. So, I'm here to interview one of the founders of the sports live streaming, Brant Buckley.
Hi, Grant.
So, Brant, what made you think about starting live streaming in sports?
Well, it was about in mid-November of 2018, or this past school year, when Mr. Wright had Nathan and I come into his office. I thought I was in trouble, so, obviously I was a little nervous about it, but he asked us what we would think about doing a live streaming. He said that they did that out of Greenville. They had lots of success on it and wanted to see what we could do at least to get that brought in here. We didn't think that we would be able to get it up. We were actually looking at graduation as being the first event to live stream, but it came together so well that we started doing it right after Christmas break with a Winterfest game, and since then we've been doing every basketball game, and it's been great.
What do you think live streaming these sports brings to the school?
Well, it doesn't necessarily bring to the school as much as it does for the community. This whole project is based around the community. It's, we obviously want people to come out to the game, but we want it to be in a case where if you can't make it out to the game, we want to have a way for you to view the game. For example, Ellie Trusty's grandparents are in Florida for the winter. They watch us every week, every game to watch Ellie play basketball, and it's been nothing but positive feedback from the community I've heard so far. I love the community, the amount of love that we get from the community, and that's what the live stream is all about more than the school. It's about the community.
Now I talked to Nathan Buckley and asked him a few questions about live streaming. So Nathan, how have you personally been affected by live streaming the game?
Well, it helps in a big way. I love helping the community, so it makes me feel good that I can be able to be such a big part of this and help the community, as well as it gives me something to do when I'm bored. I research the game, see the matchups, and I love going to these games. So it's a lot of fun going out there and broadcasting these games and making it so that everybody can enjoy it no matter where they're at.
So, have you gotten a lot of community reaction to you? Have people said anything specific, interesting, or
Well,
in general?
the community has been so welcoming to this and so thoughtful with their feedback. People thank us all the time for doing this, and that's our main point of feedback there, is just the community saying, hey, thanks, it's a really cool thing that you're doing, and we really appreciate that from the community. So that's just how we know that this is going well, and that this is something that we want to continue as we go into the future and hopefully for years to come.
As you can see, sports live streaming brings a lot to PW schools. It's very cool that they're doing this, and I hope it continues later in the future. Back to you. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that was great, Grant. I mean, a little amateurish, but great.
Yeah.
We're champion here at PW, okay?
Champions culture.
Next, we have the amazing story of me interviewing Mr. Kais about the cold and talking about the facts and how the cold weather can affect our lives here in Michigan. Because, we all have to deal with that, Grant. It's no fun.
I go outside in swim trunks in this weather.
It's the problem these days.
Yep.
Kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, to my story. That's right, folks. This year's winter has been frightful. Today, we're going to talk about 3 ways the body loses heat. There are 4 considering radiation, but we're not going to get into that. That's too sciencey. Anyway, the first is evaporation of water from the skin, and this is basically sweating. When we sweat, we lose about 85% of our body heat. This is usually during intense exercise or other activities during the winter when it's cold outside, but our body's warm and so we sweat. The second is convection. Similar to sitting in front of a fan or having the wind blow on you, the body loses 10 to 15% of its heat through convection. The last is conduction. This is when heat is lost in air temperatures lower than 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The body loses about 2% of its heat through air conduction. However, water causes more heat loss from the body than air does, so heat can be lost from the body very quickly when it is placed in cold water. According to this graph, from 1999 to 2011, there has been a steady increase in deaths related to hypothermia. So the question is, how do we prevent ourselves from getting cold? How do we protect ourselves from this cold?
Okay, Mr. Kaz, what do you think about the polar plunge challenges?
The polar plunge challenges, I have a problem with. People can't handle that much shock to their heart, and you don't know if you can or not until you jump in, and so that could be very, very detrimental for their health. As far as donating money for the polar plunges, I think this is a great idea. Just donate the money. Just be smart with your health.
All right. How does the cold affect you personally in the wintertime?
It's yucky. I don't like cold. But I live in Michigan, so you get used to it. The number of polar vortexes we've had this year is just annoying and stupid, and they need to stop. But personally, you just dress for the weather and you should be okay.
Do you think that we should be worried about the cold weather?
No, I don't think we should worry about the cold weather. Don't worry about stuff, just deal with it.
What can be done to best prepare for the cold weather?
Get warm gloves, a scarf, a hat, a nice coat, maybe some boots, maybe some thermal long johns. I don't know, something to keep yourself so you're not freezing. Hand warmers, they work great too.
So shorts? No coat?
No shorts, not in the wintertime. You guys are wacko.
Is there any advice in general you have about the cold weather?
Be prepared for whatever the weather is. Doesn't matter if it's cold, hot, rainy, snowy, freezing rain, yucky roads. Just be prepared for it, and then you're better off.
In healthy people, psychological systems stop our bodies from getting too comfortable extreme temperatures to prevent hypothermia from occurring. Nervous impulses are sent out to the muscles, which generate extra metabolic heat through shivering. That's right. Cold is more thought than anything. It's all your brain. You don't listen to it. And that is if you want to get really sick and die of hypothermia, you know. Get used to the cold a little more. Don't be trying to bundle up 24/7, keeping yourself warm whatsoever. Otherwise, it's just going to make it worse because you're going to get used to being warm. And then if it does get cold outside, you'll get cold that much easier. This is why when people wear shorts outside and everything like that, they can do that because they're used to the cold more than others are. Long story short, too much cold is bad for you. But if you expose yourself to a little, like a disease like the flu or something, it can be good for you in the long run and protect you from the actual thing.
I thought it was okay, a lot better than mine, obviously. And now we have a sneak peek at a Marvel trailer. It's pretty interesting.
Yes,
don't you
yes,
think?
on the upcoming Endgame. You're gonna love this one, folks.
I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one. Whatever it takes.
The world has changed. None of us can go back.
I saw all these people die. I keep telling everybody they should move on. Some do, but not us.
Even if there's a small chance, we owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
We will.
Well, thank you for watching this segment, and do not come back next week because no one wants to see our faces, honestly.
We've really, like, where do we even get the finances for this, honestly?
Honestly.
I mean, look at this
Good day.
table. I mean, it's not champion, it's not clean. This guy's standing
No,
back here.
no one
black.
cares. No one cares about this champion's table.
Okay, you know what? Leave it better than you found it, Grant. You know, I'm done. I quit.